This is Chrissy.
This is Shirin.
And this is Two Girls Talking Shit.
Each episode will have deep discussion and conversation on topics that matter to us, ranging from wellness to politics.
Of course, with a healthy dose of pettiness, side-eye, and shade.
You ready, Chrissy?
You ready, Shirin?
This is
TGTS.
Hi, this is Shirin.
This is Chrissy.
And this is TGTS. Today, we're going to be talking about the holiday season.
Holiday season upon us.
Right? We were recording this before the holidays, but this is probably going to come out sometime between Thanksgiving and the holiday formerly known as Christmas.
Yes.
I don't even know.
What is it known now?
Well, no, I don't even. I feel like by the time this comes out, there's going to be like a new woke name for Christmas. It could be, right?
Yeah, that's possible.
So whatever. So it's going to be between sometime now and December 25th.
Yes.
So before we get into the holidays, we're going to talk about like our, just our coping strategies, what we think of the holidays, all that stuff. There's a lot of stress. Chrissy, what is up with you?
Wow. Everything. Did you hear my voice? Everything.
I gotta tell for the people who are listening, we record this podcast in my home. This is Shirin. And Chrissy, I just answered the door when she got here, and it was like, I don't know. I was like, yo, my girl's going through something.
Look ratchet? I look ratchet.
You don't look ratchet. You got a lot going on. You got a lot going on. What's going on?
My face showed it all. And I was hungry, but she fed me, so I feel a lot better already. Well, I was in Canada this weekend for a retreat, which, speaking of retreats, we have to tell you about ours in a minute.
Yes.
But before that retreat, I was in a retreat in Canada for this retreat, and actually it was lovely. It was a really long weekend, though. I got there on Saturday morning, and I got back last night. And today is Wednesday.
Wow.
So
That's
it
long.
was a long time. I had a great time. It was lovely. It was a really amazing conference retreat, and it was really fun. But when you've been peopling for 5 days, it's a lot of talking, a lot of people, a lot of energy. So, I'm a little worn down today.
Yeah.
And then I went immediately and peopled again today. So, you know how that is.
I feel like if you go on one of those things like a retreat, a conference, a summit, you have to ideally have a half day or a day of just recalibrating your engine.
Yes.
Because it's really hard to go from that straight into the real world.
It's hard. Yeah. So I didn't do that well this time, but next time I'll do better.
Yeah.
But I'm surviving.
But the retreat looked amazing.
It was so great. It
Chrissy,
really was lovely.
What did you talk about there?
Yeah, I did a workshop on body liberation, and I also led a group workout, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. We were wonderful women, and I think everybody just enjoyed the weekend.
That's important.
Yeah.
That's
So
important.
it's good. What about you? What have you been up to?
Okay, so I'm super excited because I feel like
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I feel like Angela Lansbury right now, Murder, She Wrote, detective style. I didn't actually, that's the wrong probably analogy because I didn't solve the murder.
Oh, wow.
But I feel like a detective because Raj and I, my husband and I, are going on a last minute trip. Ooh. And okay, we just
I don't even know this.
Hold on, everyone.
Sorry.
Everyone.
Excited.
This is breaking news for everyone. Actually, so I'm going to tell you the story behind this trip, but I feel like Angela Lansbury right now because we're going to Amsterdam.
What?
Spoiler alert. I know.
Okay, can I just say one thing?
What?
I feel like the universe is telling me to go to Amsterdam.
Really?
Yeah, because I've been saying for a while it was on my list, and literally you were the fourth person this week that has talked to me about Amsterdam.
We're going to
My
Amsterdam.
client this morning was like, I'm going to Amsterdam next month.
We're all going to Amsterdam.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God, I've heard so many good things about Amsterdam.
Yeah. So we're going to Amsterdam, but it's like a city like New York where rent is actually kind of pretty expensive. So finding a place to stay there, and we're a month before a trip, can be kind of difficult. And so I've been we decided yesterday, and I've been for me, I'm all about finding the ideal place, not at a high price. I'm not about that life. I even think when I will be making 7 figures, if that ever happens, it will happen.
When it happens.
I don't know if I want to be spending buttloads of money on a place to stay. So, but for me, it's about finding the best place at a cost appropriate, And so I was searching, I was Airbnb-ing, I was VRBOing, I was literally on booking.com, you know when all your tabs are like
All
booking.com,
open?
Travelocity,
Yes.
Expedia. And I just found the best place.
What?
It's a really good price in the neighborhood that I wanted.
That's amazing.
So I'm super glad.
Yeah,
That's why I feel like Angela went right. But I'm going to tell you about why we decided to do this. So, okay. Last year, I was reading this book it's called E Squared by Pam Grout. There's some problematic parts of it, but it's about manifestation. And I was like reading it because it has like these exercises in it. And I was doing the exercises and they get like, you're supposed to like kind of start getting your energy ready to manifest, and it gets harder and harder and harder. And one of the last exercises is like manifest something big. And she always gives a time frame. It's like 48 hours.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to manifest a free trip.
Oh, okay. I'm so excited right now. I'm like, what?
Right. So I was like, I want to manifest a free trip. But of course, we maybe should do like a thing about manifestation. But with manifestation, if there's any resistance, like it's all about like not having that resistance there. So I was like, I'm going to manifest a free trip in 48 hours. But part of me was like, fuck how? Right. You're like, right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Cool, chick.
Yeah.
Read a book. You can do this. So anyways, 48 hours, what came and went, it didn't happen. And I was like,
this was last year.
This was like spring of last year.
Okay.
Just like, no, maybe like the winter of last year.
Okay.
Just the turn of 2019. Didn't happen. And I was like, okay, well, maybe you dreamed too big. And then in last spring, I had to take a last minute trip to Toronto, and my flight back was delayed. And like New York to Toronto, it's like an hour flight. And
so
the flight was delayed like 3 hours. Like it was one of those ridiculous things where you're like, why am I here? Yeah. But I was actually like, everyone in the waiting room was like so angry, and we had to change gates and all these things, and everyone was angry. But I was like, this is great. Like I love working in airports because I find it's like,
do you really?
I do, because I'm like, there's nothing here to stimulate me. Like there's nothing exciting here. I can't afford half the shit here. I can't, like you can't do anything. So I was just like working away. I was like typing. Finally, our gates announced. We're leaving at like 2:20. And then around like 1:45, they hop on the thing and they're like, oh, we've overbooked this flight. But there's a flight leaving at 3. So it's not that far, right? There's a flight leaving at 3, and we will give $1,000 voucher. Oh, I would
have been like, sign me up right now.
And I was actually sitting kind of far from the gate because I was getting work done. I heard that and I was like, huh?
Yeah.
So
what's another hour when you've been waiting 3?
Right. And I'm like, and what was funny is like, we've all been there where they're giving away vouchers. It's usually like $200, $300. It's not $1,000. And this is New York to Toronto. This isn't like Abu Dhabi to like, LAX. And so I just like ran. I was like, I want this. And I got there and I was like, oh my gosh, is it still available? And they're like, yeah, totally. And like everyone in that waiting room was so ticked off and angry that I don't even think they heard her. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, they didn't hear, either they heard maybe like the 1,000, but they were like, they didn't hear the 3 p.m. because like there was no reason to not go and grab that thing. And so I grabbed the voucher. And so that's how I manifested my trip. It was like, amazing. It was 2 months later, but $1,000. The flight was like, it was just around 1,000. So we paid $35.
I love this story.
For a trip.
It's amazing.
To Amsterdam.
And
so I'm really excited
about
that.
We're
going to Amsterdam. We're doing it. Anyway.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear about it too.
It's going to be great. We'll talk about it here in the podcast, probably.
Yeah. I feel like we will.
Yeah. Anyway.
But let's tell them about our retreat before we get into
the stuff. Okay, so
the Glow Up.
The Glow Up is a retreat that me, Chrissy, and our really good friend Allison created. Last year was our first one. This Memorial Day is going to be our second retreat. And it's a really incredible retreat. It's like a retreat for people who don't like retreats, but want to do
a
retreat.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not just saying it's really good because it's ours. It's really good because it's a really amazing retreat. And what I love about it the most is that so many women made genuine connections last year. Makes me so happy all the time. Women that were in our first group, they're traveling together. Some of the women are together this weekend.
I know.
DC. So they're always at each other's, staying at each other's houses. Like, these are real friendships and connections made, and it's just an amazing event. So it's happening this May.
Yes.
We have some spots available, but don't wait too long because they will sell out.
Yes.
And I don't know. I can't recommend it enough. It's really special.
I mean, especially right now, it's the holiday season. And so I know we're thinking a lot about like giving to others, but this is a really, really special opportunity to give back to yourself. That sounds so cheesy to say.
No, it's not cheesy.
But it really is.
True.
I think every time I go to a retreat, I'm like, why don't I do this more often? But it's hard to find spaces where you feel comfortable and that you can trust the people. Like sometimes it really is a money grab. I feel like sometimes you go.
It's a money grab, yeah.
But Chrissy does this. I mean, last year, Chrissy did an amazing workshop on body liberation, which had everyone like just in tears, but like also just blew everyone's minds. I had everyone crying.
We all like
with my work, so it's
a lot of tears, but not like an excessive amount.
No, it's like tears and belly laughs, and then we had like a dance party.
It's dance party. Yeah. We had s'mores. We did so many fun things.
Yes.
We went on an amazing hike. It's a beautiful location.
It is.
Like I can't even stress how amazing the location is. So anyway, come join us. Like if you
enjoy this podcast,
you want to be there with us.
It's literally a weekend with us acting like fools
the whole weekend. It's so great.
So if you're interested, go to theglowup.com, and also on our Instagram pages, we will be promoting it a lot. But yes, please join. We'd love to have you.
We want to meet you in real life.
Yes.
Or if we already met you, we want to meet you again.
Yes. So let's talk about
let's do it.
Chrissy, so I want to hear about like growing up. What were the holidays like in your household?
Yeah. So we like I actually love the holidays. I've never had like being around your family for an extended time can be like a thing.
Yes.
But like I've always actually really enjoyed the holidays. However, we didn't do like a big like extended family holidays. Usually my immediate family and like significant others. But yeah, I've always really, really enjoyed the holidays. I know for some people it can feel like really stressful. And I'm sure we'll talk about some of that today, but that was never really my experience, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, also because like your girl doesn't cook. So there's really no expectation for me other than I'm coming and bringing myself, and I will bring some wine. I will, if you want me to like contribute some money so that you can go shopping for all the things that we need, I'm your girl, sign me up. So I feel like that makes a difference, right? Because I'm not the one hosting.
Yes.
No one expects me to do anything other than show up and say, I'm here. So I think that makes a big difference. But I think there's also like these things about, or not can be, you know, if you're in a significant relationship or you're married, then you have like the in-laws and it could be like a lot, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of like expectations of going to like all these different places. And then the holidays can feel like really stressful because you have to like do this with this family and do that with this family. Also can be very expensive, right?
Yes.
Like, I'd love to get into that because we had, my in-laws from my ex had really high expectations. Like
for gifts?
Oh my God.
What?
I'm trying to tell you, they asked
for them.
I swear to God, they asked us to buy a mattress for them one year.
Excuse me. Adults don't get gifts.
Oh, okay. They wanted a mattress. I hope they never listen to this. They wanted a mattress. And then that was his mom and his like stepdad. They asked for a mattress and like a smoker for like meat. This was the same year. It was the same year.
What?
And there was like one other thing that was like, you're not getting any. I can't remember what it was. It was also very expensive, right? But then get this.
Oh my God.
His dad, his biological dad, you know what he asked for? He said, no, just not one of them. These are things he needed. He needed a laptop, a printer, and a tablet. And that's what the things he asked us for Christmas.
Excuse me?
I was very taken aback.
I am taken aback.
I was very taken aback.
Did you buy them those things?
No, we did not buy any of those things. But we did actually one year buy his dad a television, right? But we got a good deal on it though. But
a television at this point, like it's way less than a laptop.
But get this, that's not even the kicker.
Oh my God.
He wanted to know like why we didn't buy, like, I don't know, we bought like an Emerson, which is like top of the line. He's
right.
Like, why didn't you buy me a Sony? Those are like the best ones.
Damn.
I was like, listen, you know what? You're never getting a TV or maybe even anything else from me. So anyways. I've been rambling, but I mean, so I think there's just so many things that can go into the holidays.
A lot of expectations.
So many expectations.
Wow. Yeah. I would love to hear from our listeners what they think about adults really getting gifts. So
I would please, we want to hear from you because I'd like to know what is norm.
Wow, that's weird.
What about you though?
Well, okay, so you obviously though you grew up with like Christian tradition.
Oh, very
right?
Christian tradition.
So like, but as a child, what did that look like?
Oh, there was no Santa Claus in my house.
So that's because you were Soups Christian.
I was Soups Christian growing up. So that means like Halloween was non-existent, right? Like I didn't trick or treat for the first time until I was 30. Oh my God. So I mean, I could have done it before I was 30, but like, it just wasn't a tradition for me. So it wasn't something like, oh,
Wait, you trick-or-treated when you were 30?
I did, actually. Because you know what? A friend of ours, they had like this Halloween bash at their house. They live in like this like very ritzy suburb. And it's like a whole thing.
This is
like
amazing.
The neighborhood. It's like a whole thing.
This
and
is
they give out like the best candy. It was really fun. So yeah, I trick-or-treated for the first, and they gave me candy. It was great.
I'm here for this. I'm here for this. Okay, so
that was that. And then, but like Christmas was all about Jesus. Like, I mean,
you have a tree?
We did get presents, and we did have a tree. So we did get to have.
But there was
things.
no such thing as Santa Claus.
Santa Claus was not a thing.
Wow.
They were like, no white man came down the chimney to give you these presents. And not only was it like that, it was also about like, this is about Jesus' birthday.
Wow.
Which I'm surprised we got presents. I mean, I'm happy that we got presents, but it was very much focused on like Jesus is the reason for the season. That was like the quote. That was the saying. So, but like, yeah, it was very like church focused. So lots of Christmas Eve church, Sunday, like all the church.
So what was that like as a child? Were you like, this is the best holiday? I mean, you got gifts.
I got gifts. So
and you ate
good food. I ate good food. So I was like, cool.
Wow.
And I also like, I was homeschooled. I don't know if I talked about this in another episode, but I was homeschooled. And then I went to like a private Christian school. So like my frame of reference for this was just like, this is what it is. And then the heathens celebrate Santa.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's funny. My nephew, he's 13, and like my sister and I are not religious at this point. But he is still like the whole like Santa Claus tradition was just still something that never happened.
Wow.
Because I just didn't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So did you grow up believing in Santa?
Okay. So no.
You didn't?
Because, well, I'm Middle Eastern.
Oh, there's no Santa
right?
there?
So no.
No
contrary to popular belief, Santa does not visit every country. I mean,
he doesn't come to Iran?
He does. There's Christians in Iran, so I'm sure he'll visit their homes.
So is Santa a Christian thing?
Yes. Girl, Christmas, Christ Mass.
But Santa?
Jesus is the reason for the season.
I know, but wait. Okay, I got so many questions now. Is Christmas a thing in Iran?
Christmas is not a thing. It is a thing now because people want to celebrate Western stuff.
But it wasn't a thing.
No, because it's a Christian holiday.
Oh my God, I'm so Americanized.
Chrissy's having a moment.
I'm having a home. I'm like mind blown right now. I'm like, what? Okay.
No. So growing up, my family immigrated to Canada when we were 5. When I was 5, not when we were 5. I was 5. And so we moved to Vancouver, Canada, obviously very Christian country, Canada. And so Christmas is the thing you celebrate. And my mom, she really wanted us to be rooted in our like Iranian traditions. Mm-hmm. And so we really didn't celebrate Christmas for a while. Oh. We have in Iran, we celebrate the spring equinox. That for us is like our Christmas and New Year's combined. It's
you get gifts?
You get gifts.
Oh,
it's a party.
okay.
It's really fun.
Okay.
So I think my mom really wanted that to be the main holiday that we really looked forward to. But then I think my mom started to feel really like bad for me, especially my poor sister. Like she was 9 when we moved. She had to slug it through it all. But like when I was around, I think 6 or 7-ish, like we started, like we got a little tree. I'll never forget. Like it was a very small little like 2-foot tree. And we got little gifts on Christmas Day, and then progressively it got bigger and bigger. So
yeah. Now like it's a whole
now we're grown-ass adults. Like my parents, they live in Iran, so they don't really celebrate Christmas anymore.
So they're not in Toronto like during that time.
Well, my sister, no, they're not. But my sister now, like she's got a family, and it's so funny. My sister was the one who used to be so into Christmas. She's like, "What is this? This is like a Western thing." And now she does it up.
Really?
But because like it's fun, like it's really like it's a gloomy time of year. Yeah. You know, Christmas, many people will say, is the birth of Jesus Christ was not on December 25th.
I feel very confident that wasn't it.
But like, there's a lot of like, obviously, we're taking some pagan and indigenous culture celebrating the winter because I feel like you do need celebration during a really dark time of year. Yeah. And so cool, let's make it Christmas. But it is like I love me some Christmas, and really? I grew up singing in choirs, right? Right, yeah. And so Christmas time is a time of year when like it's all carols and Christmas concerts, and like your girl literally knows like all the Christmas carols. Really? I love to sing carols. So yeah, it's interesting because I feel like I'm lucky in that it's not really a tradition I have a lot of like things tied to, right? You know, like I think that's one of the hard things about the holidays is that like we have these expectations of ourselves and of how the holiday should be, right? Based on how we grew up, our families. And I have a little bit of that, but I don't think I have as many of those things as like, I think, the regular person out there. So Christmas for me is like what I make of it kind
Right.
of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I definitely remember growing up and feeling like really left out. Like I think maybe a lot of our listeners who aren't from like a predominantly like whatever Christian or white whatever culture that they don't celebrate Christmas. I really did feel left out. Like you go back to school in January and everyone's like, everyone's got presents, everyone's doing these things. And like, I was like, hey guys, cool. Like, do you want to have some of my weird ethnic like lunch? Like, you know, so yeah, but like kudos to my mom for navigating that. I think she did a really good job of it because she could have just been like, fuck this, like we're not doing it. Yeah. So yeah, that's my experience with the holidays, really.
Yeah, you know, I did feel that a little bit on Halloween. I used to like look out the window, like, aww. And mainly because there's like all the kids are getting candy. I didn't really care about costumes or whatever. I just wanted the candy, which I mean, I could have got candy anytime, but it's still something about I'm like, oh, the kids all have candy, but I don't get to have any. So
yeah. It's tough when you feel left out. So I think when we're talking about the holidays, what I think we should discuss a little bit is about coping strategies, because it means seeing people that you have probably avoided or not seen. And I think what's really effed up about how it works in the States, like in Canada, Thanksgiving is in October.
Right? They're so close.
And then you get Christmas in December, but here it's like bam, 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 bam. It's like everything is back to back. So it's like, I think one is those coping strategies with family to like, also like the stress around like spending. And also the, again, stress around like things having to look or be a certain way. Right. Because I love hosting stuff and I find myself slipping into like high stress, like, oh my God, like we should have like paper napkins that are whatever. Anyways, so what are some of your coping strategies around this time of year, or what are some of the pitfalls that you find? Like you're going to have to go back and see a lot of family, right? So
well, two things. Number one, last year I decided that was like my last year buying presents.
Really?
And
how did everyone react? Do they know that?
Probably not.
Okay.
And I'm not saying like no one, like my nieces and nephews,
right?
I still do some stuff for, but like
I
no
really mattresses this year.
Well, no, nobody's getting mattresses from me. I think too, like what really like ticked me off last year is again these expectations, right? So even like with my sister-in-law, for example, and I don't even think it was my sister-in-law, maybe it was my mother-in-law at the time, was just like the expectations for what we were supposed to buy the kids.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, like I do not owe anybody present. It was almost like this, like, right, this is the expectation, this is what you need to do, this is what you have to do. And I was just like, yeah, this is the last year I'm doing this. Because also like you know, my niece and nephew, they get so much stuff and they're like kids, right? Like what are they gonna do with all this stuff? And like, and I just think again, it sets this bad precedent that like, that you are like, you deserve to get all this stuff, or that someone owes you all these things. So I just was like, and also I'm a procrastinator, especially when it comes to the holidays. So it's like the last week before Christmas, I'm like, I don't have any presents. And so I was just like, and I really just stopped last year to examine like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I buying everybody presents? Like, why is this the requirement? It's not a requirement. That's the thing, right? So yeah, I said last year was the last year I was buying everyone presents. So like I said, I will buy my nieces and nephews like something small, but I'm not spending. Like honestly, like it wasn't because like we were very like, we were the people who like budgeted. It made sense actually.
Yeah.
So, but we had like a nice chunk of money that we spent on presents every year.
Wow.
And I was like, why am I spending all my money?
Right.
Not all my money, but like, why am I even spending this much money on people for Christmas presents? It was ridiculous. So this year, no, not getting presents. You know, and like, I really don't think that like my mom, my sisters, my brother, they're not going to care. They're going to be fine with it. Like, so I'll get myself my niece and nephew stuff, but like, it's not going to be anything big. Right. And also like, you know, I'm going to go home for the holidays now. So I have to spend money going home for the holiday, which by the way, holiday travel. Yo, I had no idea because I never had to do it before. And I was like, what? It's so you want me to pay how much to go home for the weekend? Yo. So it's wildly expensive.
If you fly on Christmas Day, it's very cheap.
Okay, that's the thing I noticed. You could fly on Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day. Right. But who wants to fly on the day?
I mean, little Muslim people like me do. That's
Do you really fly on the holiday?
Oh yeah, I've flown because like also again when you have that's what I think the beauty of when it's not your own tradition. Like,
Yeah,
if you,
who cares, right?
it's like, okay, let's do Thanksgiving the next day.
Right,
Like,
it doesn't really
right?
matter.
Or like, sure, like if I get there Christmas afternoon, I'm okay with that. My entire family's okay with that.
Right.
But also I think like we can all be okay with that. Like,
You're right,
right?
though,
It's
right?
those expectations that we have around
you know,
the
maybe
holiday.
I don't have my ticket yet, so maybe I'll fly on the holiday because it was very cheap on the day of.
Right.
So yeah, so there's that too. And I'm like, hey, me coming home is the gift.
Right.
I am the gift.
She is the gift.
So that's what they're gonna be getting this year. Yeah, so I think the other thing too, I think with coping mechanisms is what you already talked about, is like the expectations, right? Whether we're putting them on ourselves. So I think a lot of times that is the case, right?
Yes.
Or we're trying to manage other people's expectations, right? Or we're deciding what they're going to think. Like, what if I don't do this? They're going to think X, Y, and Z. So I think that's a big piece of it, of just like changing our narrative and our mindset around what the holiday is supposed to look like, what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to show up, all of those things.
I think this is a time of year when we really have to be so vigilant with our energy and our time, and really be discerning what we're saying yes and no to, which like pretty much encompasses what boundaries are, which is like a word that's thrown around so much around this time of year. But really, like, I think before the holidays start, before it gets real, it's really figuring out like what's most important to me, what do I need to prioritize, and how can I keep myself safe and sane, and because like I always say, like, how do you want this time of year to feel? And I do think this is a time of year where we can feel really joyful and connected, and
we should, right?
We really should, because that's what this is all about. Said from like a Muslim girl, but like really I do think that's like one of the beautiful things about the holiday season is everyone's like in a really good mood when they're not stressed out, but like the stress again is our own, like we're making ourselves stressed out because of expectations. And yes, other people may have expectations of us, but if that's not for us, then we don't have to kind of give into that. And that's easier said than done, right? I think when we talk about boundaries, some of the things we really have to like discuss are, one, like having a boundary means that other people are going to have feelings about it, like,
and they're entitled to those
things. Like you saying, like, let's say for instance, like I'm not going to be there on the morning of December 25th, but I'll be there in the afternoon, is probably going to provoke, if you say that, like frustration, right? What do you mean? Or like, and those people are family. They're allowed to have their feelings about that, just like you're allowed to book your flight whenever you want to, right? And so I think around this time of year, it's like, oh my God, they're going to think I'm a bad person, that I'm being selfish, that, and it's really kind of undoing those things and being like, well, what is best for me? Because when we go into those things in that way, we end up like really resenting them.
Right. You always just end up being resentful, right?
You're like, oh,
I had
to get there
because they told me I had to do this. I don't even want to do this.
Yes. And that's like not what, like, I don't want to remember that about every holiday with my family or every like moment I spent. Like, it's just like, so that's one thing that I try to keep really like at the fore, which is like, what do I really need? What are like the things that really will keep me anchored? And then when I'm in family situations, like the things that keep me sane, like movement, like going to the gym, which actually is also means I'm not with them, right?
A break.
You give yourself space.
A break.
Like if you say you're going to the gym and go to a coffee shop, that's fine. Nobody knows.
Do your thing.
But doing my morning routine, which means getting up a little bit earlier than everyone else, to like everything that is self-care for you, you actually have to do even more.
You can't skip it.
You cannot skip it. And like maybe you don't have an hour to do it, but like give yourself the 15 minutes,
whatever you can,
to just ground yourself, because family, bless their hearts, they will wear you down. They will say the thing that is gonna totally get you. There's do you know who Ram Dass is? So Ram Dass, for people who don't know, is like, he's a huge name within the mindfulness and spiritual world, like a very close to enlightened being. Like, I don't think anyone's super enlightened, but like, very, very spiritual man. But he has this quote that's like, you think you're enlightened and then you spend a week with your family.
You realize.
And it's so true. And so I think in that case too, if you are someone who's really doing that self-growth and self-development and is having that compassion piece, because like, listen, your girl acts a fool sometimes with her family, like when you're just like, you're in the middle of a fight with your mom and you're like, like, why am I doing this? Like, you're literally like having this stupid ass argument, or maybe it's not even stupid ass,
stupid though,
but it's like you're reacting, like you're not responding, and you're just like, oh my God, this is like my 12-year-old self right now. And so it's just giving yourself that like flexibility to also be that person, because that's just going to happen too. Yeah. Those are some of my thoughts around the holidays.
Yeah. And I think there's so many dynamics with the holidays too, right? With like in-laws and like extended family, right? There is just so much potential for like drama.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know about you, but there's definitely people in my extended family who just are nosy, right?
Yeah.
They ask all the questions.
Well, especially like,
oh my God, me. Okay. So this is my first holiday. Right. This is my first holiday without my partner. In 14 years.
Right.
So, I mean, I anticipate that, people are going to have questions for both. I mean, he's going to field the same questions that I have to field. And, it's not everyone's business, or, I don't necessarily want to discuss. I don't know. It's just like all the things, right? Like it's not even the holidays yet. I was talking to my mom the other day. She's like, so have you talked to my ex? I'm not going to say his name, but she's like, have you talked to him? And I'm like, we mean like yesterday or today or just like in general? She's like, just like, at all. And I'm like, sure, yeah, I've talked to him. And like, I don't even know where we're going with that question, right? Parents. And I mean, she means well, but I just think, who knows, right? There could be all kinds of things that come up. And I don't know, we'll just see how it goes. But that's another very important part of boundaries, especially with family, is that you're not required to answer people's questions. Like, right? Like you just aren't. And two, like, I don't know. I don't really feel nervous about going. Like, I don't feel nervous about it at all, because I just think it's going to be fine. Like, it's whatever. But I could see, like, how that could be very unnerving for people.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't think anybody's going to be like, oh, poor Chrissy. Like, I don't feel like there's going to be, like, a sense of pity for me. Like, I'm by myself. Oh, my God. But I could see that could be the dynamic in lots of families, right?
Yes.
And also, like, I don't think I'm going to see a lot of my extended family this holiday. Not in my mind, I'm not. I don't think so. So, because I actually haven't even talked to a lot of my extended family since, I don't even know if I'm sure my mom has told everybody, but like, I don't know. I haven't talked to them about it.
But they don't know you were separated at the moment.
I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Listen, I don't inform people.
# live your life like Chrissy.
I'm like I just haven't had any conversations with them outside of my immediate family. Those are really important people that I felt like I needed to have the discussion with. I'm sure my mom has told her sisters and I'm sure they all know.
Right.
I'm sure everybody knows by now. But yeah, I didn't have that conversation with any of them. So.
But you're going into it with the expectation of like, just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just whatever is gonna happen is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And we'll just see how it goes. But that can be very uncomfortable for people though.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think and honoring the fact that it can be uncomfortable, and I think also sometimes like for me it's like I'll sometimes visualize those conversations and like what I need in those moments and because it's like, they will say stuff, like they will ask questions. And so what do I need to like take care of myself in that moment? That's like a really, really big thing, because family will say stuff and whether like, again, you may be going into the holidays with big changes in your life, right? Some of them good, some of them maybe quote unquote not good.
Right.
And so you're bracing yourself for the worst, but how about brace yourself for like how to take care of yourself instead?
That's like the best,
right? Like how can I like, what if Aunt Melba, I don't know, says X, Y, and Z, which she probably will, like, how do I want to respond towards myself? Maybe not towards her. Like maybe you'll have a great response to say, or like, you know, actually like, don't want to talk about that right now. I don't know if you can say that to Aunt Melba.
Yeah, Aunt Melba's better than we do. So you
gotta do your thing. There's actually something I started doing. I don't know if this is just not good or I don't know. But sometimes with family, this is the first time I'm saying this out loud. I will imagine as if I'm wearing like an old timey spacesuit with one of those like when they're saying things or like whatever, and it's just like I'm about to like lose it or not lose it, but just it's like getting to me. I'll imagine I'm wearing one of those like, those like clear
the big helmet
thingies.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's almost like I'm witnessing it, but I'm like not in it. And then like, it's so, but it's like,
I love that though.
I feel like it's a mindfulness technique. I don't know, but it really works. Like,
wow.
or using it on the subway. Like, it's like literally like a little bit of armor or a little bit of a shield. Like, I'm here, I'm watching this, I'm witnessing it, but I'm not letting it into my energetic force field.
I love that. So it's like a barrier of
protection, right?
I need it on the subway. I'm really into that.
Girl,
actually.
yes. So
I like that idea.
So I just think of
all right, y'all. We're putting on our helmets.
Put your helmets on. Put your safe helmet on.
This holiday season.
But really, just think of how you can really protect your energy, protect your heart, all that stuff. And then another thing I want to get into, because it's something that I suffer from. You don't as much, as you said. I get caught up in like, I love hosting people. I love having people over and I want things to be a certain way. And so my perfectionist tendencies and my overachiever tendencies during this time have a tendency to creep up.
Well, give us the tips, because I got nothing to add to this conversation.
No, Chrissy's
nothing.
And so for me, I love to host. I love to do those things because I love that idea of bringing people together, connecting them. I think food for me is about nourishing people. It's about feeding.
She feeds me.
I feed her all the time. But I also realized when I was trying to be a perfectionist about it, I wasn't doing it. Or when I was doing it, it was making me so stressed out that like it wasn't a pleasurable experience for me at all. And so really having that realization of like, wait a second, like this is actually taking me away from what this is all about has helped me in like really actually releasing like the perfection around things.
I love that.
And it's been like a really slow thing of like some being like, oh, like I don't need to, I don't know, like for instance, like do we need on theme paper napkins or like even I now serve everything, even though it's really terrible for the environment. So I'm going to be getting like ones that are biodegradable, compostable, plastic dishware. Like I would never like in my family, that's like unheard of. And actually at my wedding, we had that. And my parents were like, what? But it was amazing. Like they were like, oh, these are, and so it's like those little things that are going to make it easier for you. Like if you really love hosting, do things that will make it easier for you and just as pleasurable for you, because your guests are not going to remember fucking silverware.
They don't care.
They're going to remember having that amazing drunken conversation with you. They're going to remember like, you know, the hugs, the laughs. That's what they're going to remember. And while yes, the food and stuff, the music are part of creating the ambiance around that, like I know and you know when you're going overboard and when it's just like about this level of this facade of like, my life is perfect. Everything is great. Like, no, it's not. Like our bathroom is a hot damn mess, but I still want you to come over and like do this thing. So,
and also like, you just brought up really a good point about the facade thing, right? Because like also then it puts, when we like keep up these facades of perfection, then we all like feel like we have to do that, right? And instead we could just like let it down a little bit, be normal, and realize that this is everyday normal. We all live like this. We all have, none of us are perfect, right? And then we can like stop feeling like we have to put so much pressure on ourselves to like show up exactly in this manner. And you're right. Like I never like go to someone's thing and I'm like, oh my God, they served me food on a plastic plate. What is that?
It's just nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like if you don't have like 5 appetizers, nobody cares. Or like ask people to bring stuff.
100%.
Like really just, it's really releasing the expectations around that. I actually read somewhere that like in New York, it's becoming really popular to have like, I don't know what the name is, but it's like having these dinner parties that are like come as you are. So like it's last minute and people are just like, you're not supposed to clean your house, you're not supposed to do anything.
I love that idea.
Have people over because like that's the whole point of these things is connection. And so
it's not about all the other things.
It's not about all that other stuff.
No.
You know, and if you're judging someone because their bathroom is dirty,
then you need to think about yourself.
I mean, unless it's super,
like if it's
gross.
really, really bad, then that's a different story because like, why would you invite me over in this mess? But there's like, you know, there's levels to what we're saying.
So what are some of our maybe final thoughts around the I mean, we could talk a lot more about the holidays, but
I just think like, again, finding a way to have joy in the holidays. I think like this is a wonderful time of the year, right? I mean, Thanksgiving is super problematic, but so problematic. But nonetheless, the tradition of being around family and like celebrating and like being together can and should be one that's filled with a lot of joy. And so like doing the holidays in a way that you can do that, and not feeling like I know people who are like so stressed they just can't wait to the holidays, so they can, like, that shouldn't be that way, right?
Yes.
Like, you're not enjoying it if that's the case. So do it in a way that feels good and feels joyful. And like, we didn't even talk about this, and we can't today because we don't have time.
What?
But like, also eating around the holidays is the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
too.
I was gonna say, but that's a whole.
We will start a whole other episode with that, so we
Yes.
can't get into that. But like, enjoy your food and savor it and have joy in food
it's
too.
literally like a couple weeks out of your life.
Like, enjoy.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy
Yeah.
the people. Enjoy the connections.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of
yeah.
that. So, what are your final thoughts?
I would add to that I think something for me that's been really liberating is like, I get to create my own traditions.
Yeah.
And I can break those traditions and I can do whatever I want, but just because this is how it's done is not how I want to or have to do it. Again, like if no presents or celebrating Christmas on December 26th or like, these are all arbitrary things.
Yeah.
And whatever feels the most joyful, the most free, the most whatever to you, you do that. And especially if you're a grown ass adult now, I think it's really fun. Like me and my husband, it's fun. Like we get to create our own traditions. Yeah. And I hope we never get too beholden to those traditions. Yeah. But I'm sure that some of them we'll want to keep doing because they're super fun, but they'll make no sense to anyone else except us. Yeah. So I would encourage people to get creative and just do what feels right to you. Really.
And also, don't be afraid to say no to things that don't feel good.
Girl,
like there's so many invitations during the holidays to do all the things. Just say no.
Just say no.
Just say no. It's fine.
Say no. Yeah. So those are our tips from this Muslim girl and this Super Christian. Okay.
Oh, okay. So today, before we go, we got to do asking for a friend.
Yeah. So asking for a friend is actually, it's me. We're asking for me. So it's not
she's a friend. So she's a friend.
This is actually a moral question. And I want to ask Chrissy what your opinions are about this. And then I really would love the audience to chime in.
I'm in the hot seat right now. I feel very nervous about
this. No, this is actually ridiculous. So Halloween just came and passed in New York City. And one of my favorite things to do around Halloween is to go to my local Target. Okay. I live in Brooklyn. It's a really crappy Target. Like Targets in New York City aren't real Targets. Like if you come from wherever else in the country, you're like,
Which Target do you go to?
There's one at Atlantic Terminal. Anyways, Chrissy just moved here. She doesn't
I don't know.
But there is a Target there. And I discovered this a couple years ago that around Halloween time, people will go into the candy aisle, the Halloween candy, right? The fun size. And they'll open the bags.
Shut up.
And so there's all these open bags of candy. Yeah, because I mean, it's just like all these bags, and it's like whatever. Like it's not like. So there'll be bags of candy open.
Oh wow! Okay.
And I want to know what is your moral stance? Would you take your favorite candy out of a bag
that's already open?
That is already opened in a Target.
I mean, the answer is obviously yes, because Target can't sell the candy anymore. It's already open.
This is why we're best friends.
What? Target can't do anything with it now. I didn't open it.
Girl.
I'm just eating it.
Let me tell you, you are the first person out of 10.
You are lying.
1 out of 10 people, it seems like.
They all said no?
Okay, a couple people were like, what if somebody like laced those things with...
Right, they didn't. Nobody laced the candy with anything. That didn't happen. They didn't have time in Target to lace all the candy. That's ridiculous.
So some people were like that, like I'm scared of the candy. Then other people were like, no, that's stealing.
But Target has to throw that candy away.
Exactly. This is my rationale.
Yeah.
That candy is open.
It's already open.
Again, this isn't like a mom and pop store.
It's
like
Target.
I would not do this to like.
Listen, but mom and pop, sure, but
Target
is Target. No.
So they have to throw it out anyway.
They literally can't do anything with it. So if if a Snickers, of course I'm gonna Twix, probably any of them, honestly. I'm like, sure.
You're like, sure. I don't even care. I'll even take Nerds.
Nerds even. Why not? We're here. We're doing
not candy corn though.
Nah, I do not want candy corn or Smarties. You're thinking
Canadian Smarties.
So I had those this weekend. That's why it's on top of mine. I'm talking about the little chalky ones.
No, those are terrible.
Those are awful.
So Chrissy and I obviously are best friends. Yeah. Because we both say yes, take the candy.
I can't believe people would say no. That is not stealing.
I don't know. Anyway, tell us what you think, right?
Though.
Are you like shaking your head no to what we're saying, or like yes, nodding your head,
eat the candy.
Yes, eat the candy. Or are you one of those people who doesn't trust anyone and thinks no one's lacing the candy?
The chocolate. You know, they think there's like an elaborate scheme. They lace them all and snuck them in Target and open up the bag so they find us and we'd be like, eat.
Or it's like that thing when you go to the pool and like if you pee, it goes all green or blue.
Yeah.
Like they'll know because you get like a terrible case of diarrhea the next day.
And they're like, they fell for it. No, I mean the candy.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, so we just want to hear from you. What would you do?
Tell us.
So that's our episode. We wish you luck navigating this holiday season.
Tell us about your holiday experiences too. We totally would love to hear about that.
Yes.
And did your in-laws ask you for a mattress or a computer or a laptop or any of those things?
That's ridiculous.
No, I think so too. So.
I don't even want to buy myself a mattress.
That's what I'm trying to say.
So expensive.
Expensive, right? No, I can't buy you a mattress. What is that?
That's ridiculous. Anyway, on that note,
that's it for today.
All right. We'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of TGTS. If you like today's episode, please subscribe, review, or leave a comment for us. And please share the TGTS love. Until next week, bye.